Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It is now 6:20 in the morning, and it has been revealed to the world that Brian Jennings is the real deal. That Brian Jennings is worthy to be in the same ring as Vladimir Klitschko. It is been proven now that Brian Jennings takes a good shot. He can take a good shot. He belongs at world level. You know, first of all, congratulations to Brian Jennings. First of all, going the 12 rounds and making a hard fight of the night under the circumstances of the man that spent the majority of the fight holding. He did land some good, clean punches at times, Klitschko, but like I keep saying, and I keep repeating, and I keep saying that, I didn't think this fight was a foregone conclusion. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It is now 6:20 in the morning, and let me just pause that. Right. So here we are, post-fight, Klitschko versus Jennings. Now, while I was on Twitter, I've been on Facebook, I've followed the career of Brian Jennings intently. I don't just do interviews for the sake of doing interviews. I don't just, just do it for views. Like I've said before, and I'll keep on saying, I do this to get to know the fighter, to analyze the fighter up close. And I said to people before the fight, I said to everyone before the fight, I was even tweeting it on Twitter, and they didn't show you much. They showed you a clip of it on Box Nation, that behind the scenes in the dressing rooms will be a key moment. And one of the key moments was when Gary Shaw, Klitschko was walking into the dressing room, Vitaly, and Gary Shaw turned to Klitschko and said, no, not at this moment. And the referee was in the room. And Gary Shaw said to the referee, hey, you know what? We don't want any of this holding stuff going on. The first thing. The second thing is the hand wraps. It was discussed via myself and Fred Jenkins. We talked about the hand wraps of Vladimir Klitschko, how they're being wrapped. Certainly, Klitschko does not like, regardless of what Klitschko tells you, he does not like fighting in America. I'll tell you why he doesn't like in America, because he's got a monopoly in Europe. He's got a monopoly where he can control the referees, he can control the judging. Not that he needs the judging, but he can certainly control the referee, where he can get away and do all the nonsense he does, which is holding, grabbing, holding, and Klitschko was annoyed because, you know what, he was told incessantly holding. He holds for dear life because he's got no inside game. I keep on saying this. So, okay, people saying experienced, Brian Jennings experience, Brian Jennings experience. Now, let me say this to you. Experience only counts if you can get away doing what you've been doing with the experience that you have. Don't say somebody hasn't got experience. Oh, he's not experiencing this. He's not experiencing this. But it's the experience that Brian Jennings brought to the ring. Klitschko never sparred with Jennings beforehand. So I don't care what anybody tells me. He had never sparred with Jennings, so he didn't have a handle of what Jennings brought, how hard Jennings hit, his head movement. So it was difficult for Klitschko to measure him and land punches. People didn't give Brian Jennings the credit for his footwork, his in and out movement. The tenacity, the technical aspects of Jennings, able to drop his hands in the pocket with Klitschko at times, and look at Klitschko and see what he was doing and throw punches. But Klitschko, what was he doing? Most of the time for the fight, holding. This is a guy that's got, 70 defenses of their heavyweight championship in the world. Heavyweight championship in the world. And couldn't get a novice out of there. You know why? Because Jennings had, first of all, an experienced corner, right? They had experienced corner. When backstage, this is the first part, backstage, when Vitaly would come in, which he always does into every world title fight that Vladimir's in, he comes into the dressing room and starts to disrupt things, disrupt how things are in the dressing room. Always does it. He did it with Derek Chisora. When Derek Chisora was getting hand wrapped, he was in the dressing room talking stuff to Derek Chisora, telling him to re-wrap the hands, all the sort of stuff to disrupt you. That's why people still don't understand why Derek Chisora spat at Vladimir Klitschko. Because Vladimir Klitschko, when Chisora was fighting Vitaly, Vladimir Klitschko was in there telling him, oh, you need to do the wraps differently. You're not doing this right. You're not doing that right. And messing Team Chisora around. So when Chisora came out, the only way Chisora could have let his frustration out and let Vladimir know that, you know what, I don't give a damn about you. And this is what I think about your nonsense because you're downright down and dirty. He spat at Vladimir. So what we see, or what you see, is him spitting at Vladimir. So the Klitschkos are not these nice people that you all like to believe. They will do what they can to keep a hold of the heavyweight championship of the world. I'm not saying now Vladimir Klitschko is not a good fighter. I'm not. Now, let's break this fight down. Back to the experience thing. Vladimir Klitschko was forced onto his back foot by a guy who had faster hands than him. And the corner of Vladimir Klitschko and Jonathan Banks, he just kept telling him to circle and box, circle and box, circle and box. And no time they said, go out there and take him out, champ. Didn't go out and say that, didn't. And Klitschko himself was weary of a man that supposedly has no punching power. So Bryant Jennings shouldn't, like most experts, there's a lot of experts out there that were saying Bryant Jennings shouldn't be in the same ring as him. Bryant Jennings is too small. Bryant Jennings is this. Bryant Jennings is that. These are all experts. These are all people that have got YouTube channels, all people that are out there that slam and said, oh, Bryant Jennings shouldn't be in the same ring. Bryant Jennings is going to get knocked out. Bryant Jennings is too small. I think people need to analyze and think about what this experience thing means. David Haye had loads of experience. He had loads of amateur background, world heavyweight champion. Experience, again, you can only have experience. It's only useful to you if you're allowed to execute on the night. Vladimir Klitschko did not look as spectacular because he was unable to be holding and grabbing on for most of the fight. You know, he even tried, if you look carefully, he tried the left hook on many occasions. Drop, throw the left hook. And Jennings was able to take it. And one of the other reasons why Jennings was able to get hit by the straight right hand is because he was in the pocket with Klitschko. He actually could see the punches coming. When he threw the guard, he's watching the punches coming through at Klitschko. So even the big shots he took, he was riding those shots because he was able to know when the shots were coming through. So there's a lot of credit needs to be given to Bryant Jennings, a lot of credit. And you know what? It's only a matter of time before he gets a version of the heavyweight championship of the world. Now, let's put some things in perspective here. You've got Tyson Fury and you've got Deontay Wilder, two fights that people are talking about. And a lot of people are saying, well, you know, Tyson's next. That's great. Tyson's big, Tyson's strong. We know that. But the question is, with both Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, the one question I ask boxing fans is, if Klitschko lands the straight right hand on Fury's chin or Wilder's chin, no matter how much punch power they've got and game plan they've got and all the rest of it, how do they react? That's the question, boxing fans. For Fury fans, we know how he's reacted to a light punching Steve Cunningham. How would he do when Vladimir, who is maybe slightly shorter than Fury, I think Fury's 6'9", Vlad 6'6", couple of inches there in that. What happens when Vlad is able to land the right hand consistently on Fury's chin? What is Fury going to do about that? You know, experience. Is Vlad slowing down? Now, I know that the interview I did with Bryant Jennings, he said he would expose a lot of the weaknesses in Vladimir Klitschko. And I know a lot of experts and a lot of people on Facebook and a lot of people on Twitter and my YouTube channel said, haha, he can't expose anything. Well, I think tonight the myth of Vladimir Klitschko has been exposed. And I think that we need to be a bit less dismissive of fighters and actually look at fighters more for what they actually could potentially bring to the table, rather than be so dismissive of, oh, you know what, he ain't fought no one, or he's too small, so he'll no point. There was a history of fighters before Bryant Jennings, you know, the Evander Holyfields, the Mike Tysons, the Rocky Marcianos, you know, small guys, even poor Michael Moorer, who was what, 6'1", 6'2". I remember seeing Michael Moorer knock out Mike the Giant White, was like 7 foot tall. So you know, I don't want to hear no more people talk about experience, because there are better fighters, or there are more experienced fighters than Bright Jennings that got in that ring and did nothing. Hay did nothing. That's one fighter. How many other fighters? Kubrat Pulev, what did he do? You know, Povetkin, what was he unable to do? And these are guys that have been in the ring, have got better amateur records and better pro records than Brian Jennings. So for what Brian Jennings has achieved, the heavyweight picture now with Brian Jennings, he has been revealed to the world now that he is a top flight heavyweight, which will only get better. That performance now, he knows that his chin, he can do 12 rounds. He's got a great chin. He's got a fantastic engine, you know, and there's nobody else in the heavyweight division that's going to be grabbing and holding like that. You know, there'll be other guys that are going to give Bryant the opportunity to land bombs and be more explosive. So for me, it was a great victory for Bryant Jennings. He went 12 rounds, and it was a great victory for him. The fact that not only he went 12 rounds, but he put in a great performance. And a lot of experts are going to have egg on their faces now. Vlad has no inside game. I've said it before, and I'll keep on saying it. As for Tyson Fury, like I said before, and I'll keep on saying it, boxing fans, I like Tyson Fury. I like him a lot. But like I said, that straight right hand of Klitschko, Fury's going to have to jump on Vlad and be careful he doesn't get caught with a right hand, because what is Fury's chin like against Vladimir's right hand? That's the question. We know Vladimir's chin is questionable. Took some good shots of Jennings, but you know, I want to see how Fury deals with that right hand. We'll know soon enough. Same with Deontay Wilder. How does Deontay Wilder deal with a tall, big man that can punch? So we talk about experience. In that case, then I'll tell you what. Then Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury both lack experience, because neither man has fought a heavyweight of Klitschko's stature, if you want to talk about experience. And neither of those two guys have fought a heavyweight with a sort of one-punch knockout power as Klitschko. So, okay, those guys haven't got experience. What about that then, boxing fans? That is, well, they haven't got experience. They've got the height, they've got the reach, but have they got the experience of fighting a guy as quality as Klitschko? And the next question is, when these fights are made, who's going to be the sparring partners? Who would you bring in to emulate Vladimir Klitschko? Well, the first guy I can talk about straight away that'd be an excellent sparring partner for both Wilder and Fury, David Price. David Price would be the best, closest clone of Vladimir Klitschko. When you talk about a guy who's a bit wary about his chin and there, but has a huge booming right hand, David Price. And I keep saying, don't count David Price out their heavyweight picture. Don't. I believe now he's got a fight signed with Maris back. Dangerous fight. I'm not sure if I were Price, I'd be taking that fight, but it's a great move if he can beat Vac. Absolutely great move. So I feel kind of like, what's the word? People say, oh, you don't know shit about boxing. Well, I think tonight I kind of feel that I do know a little bit more about boxing, because a lot of people doubted Brian Jennings. A lot of people doubted his ability, his strength. He was able to push Klitschko back at times. He was able to make Klitschko get on the back foot and panic. You know, so proud of Brian Jennings, and I look forward to bringing you more interviews. And you know what? It's only a matter of time before I believe he becomes heavyweight champion of the world. When I said that he reminded me of an Evander Holyfield, he really does remind me of Evander Holyfield. He really does. A lot of people say, oh, well, he didn't throw a lot of head punches. Well, if he threw a lot of head punches, throwing those head punches, I believe he would have left himself open to getting tagged. And you don't want him doing that. So he was very responsible, defensive responsible. And I don't think there are going to be other. I mean, I'd love to see Deontay Wilder versus Brian Jennings now. Having seen what I saw tonight, I'm even more want to see that fight, Jennings v Deontay Wilder. A grudge match. How will Jennings do against Deontay Wilder, who I don't think is as skilled? He hits hard, no doubt about it, Deontay Wilder, but I don't think he's a seasoned pro as Vladimir Klitschko. Klitschko is the most experienced pro in the heavyweight division, bar Tony Thompson and Shannon Briggs. Count Shannon Briggs out there because he's not going to fight any top elite fighters. So, you know, and the question for Briggs and people who want to see Briggs fight Klitschko, is Briggs really going to stand up to that power of that right hand? I don't think so. So those are my thoughts there. I know it's not gonna make a lot of people happy. I don't care, because you know a lot of people say a lot of nasty things beforehand, and you know, I think now everyone's gonna jump on a Bryant Jennings bandwagon. But Bryant is, you know, I think he knows. He said, you know, people want to know about me after the event. Beforehand, I was this and I was that. Now, you know, more people are gonna join the Bryant Jennings fan club. But no, I think if people are too cynical in the world of boxing, way too cynical in the world of boxing, too quick to dismiss fighters. And Bryant Jennings has been in tough fights, and they dismissed him for his fight with Perez. But you know, for me, Perez was an unbeaten, strong fighter who had a good straight left hand and knocked a lot of opponents out. So in the Jennings fight, he proved he had a good chin. So hold on, you criticize the man for going and having difficult fights, right? And he gets through a difficult fight. You criticize him and bomb him out for it. But at the same time, you turn around and say, oh, well, you know what? He's not having tough fights. You need to go through tough fights to get yourself in a position to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. Somehow, in some boxing fans' minds, they believe that if you take easy fights or knock everybody out, and this is called beast mode, knocking people out that are meant to get knocked out, like this next fight Anthony Joshua's having. You know, you can't say, look at that what Joshua's doing against those type of guys, and then say, oh, he's ready for Klitschko. Because Klitschko's not going to let him walk up to him and hit him with a right hand. Klitschko is going to be moving, he's going to be using a jab, he's going to be throwing the right hand, he can sneak uppercuts, tying you up. How do the big guys handle Klitschko? Fury Klitschko is not a foregone conclusion. Don't get me wrong. Peter Fury is going to get him in the best possible shape and will have a brilliant game plan. But like I said, that game plan can be put to sleep. That game plan can be over with one punch. Now, where Cunningham dropped Fury, I'm afraid that if Klitschko lands the same way, no matter how much heart he's got, I'm not sure if he's going to get up. So that's my concern there. And as you know, with Deontay Wilder, he has been dropped by lesser punches. So both guys there, you know, they've both got their hands full. Don't be fooled by what happened with Jennings tonight. Don't be fooled by that, because you talk about different dimensions. The fact that Jennings is smaller means that he can make himself even smaller. So the champion's going to have to punch down. And when you punch down, you lose power when punching down. But now punching up, you have your power there. So I think that, you know, and I believe that Klitschko has sparred with Wilder. And I'm not sure if he sparred with Fury or not, but I certainly know they were in the same camp together. So interesting times, very interesting times, very interesting times. And I hope this fight makes boxing fans think twice before they're quick to dismiss an opponent. Think twice before they dismiss a fighter that because they've had a tough fight, suddenly it means that they don't stand a chance. I hope that this also, you know, I hope that boxing YouTube fans or people in YouTube actually go and look at those comments that were put on the page and listen to some of the things that were said. And then you see these people make their comments week in, week out. They do the videos week in, week out, and we go back and listen to them. And I put my balls on the line. Do you know why I put my balls on the line? Because how do you test yourself and test your knowledge if you keep sitting on the fence? How many people expected Bryant Jennings to go 12 rounds? How many experts said unanimous decision, Klitschko? Tell you something else. That fight, as far as I'm concerned, also, the referee should have pulled him up from the second round. because he kept holding and holding and holding and holding. Jennings, just like the Perez fight, was being held and held and held and held. You know what? And the referee should have taken more points off. And if the referee taken 2 or 3 points off, there was a big chance of Vladimir being disqualified in there if you had a really, really strict referee in there. And I don't sound anal about this, but at the end of the day, that for a heavyweight championship of the world, for a man that's had 70 defenses of the World Heavyweight Championship, that really that's the best Vladimir could do. So, somebody saying Fury will kill Vlad, take his life, destruction. Fury can't be KO'd. Cunningham got lucky. I don't know if Cunningham got lucky. Fury was open, and if you go look back and look at the tape, it's not only Cunningham that's dropped Fury. Nevin Pajcek did it as well. Chisora had him in trouble in the first fight. So it's not just, you've got to think about the accuracy. And when Klitschko starts to find you, time you, and start landing them big right hands, when his bombs start landing, what happens to both Wilder and Fury? That's the question. If you think that Fury is just going to step in the ring and throw punches, there is. When you talk about fighting someone like Vladimir Klitschko, one mistake at this level, at the World Heavyweight Championship level, that's it. That's it. And who has Fury fought or Klitschko fought that with one punch, bang, lights out? That's the question boxing fans have to ask. And if you're brutally honest, neither Fury nor Wilder has fought anybody that's got that sort of one punch knockout power. That's a big man. I'm not talking about Stiverne or Chisora. I'm talking about a big man that is champion, that is not intimidated, and that is coming to do damage. And that is what I leave boxing fans tonight to think about. You want to talk about experience, and all the critics want to talk about, oh, Brian Jennings ain't got experience. Well, I would say now, same critics, let me ask you a question. What experience has Fury and Klitschko got, and Wilder got? Fury's got experience of fighting shorter guys and outboxing them. Wilder's got experience of fighting shorter guys and knocking them out. What about guys your own height, lads? That's the question. David Price may fight Marius Vac. At least we're going to find out there how he does against a tall man. At least we already know how he does against a tall man his own height, because he fought Tony Thompson, remember? So again, and that was a tricky southpaw and one of the best in the world. And neither Wilder, I would like to see Wilder or Fury fight Tony Thompson. They won't take that fight. It's too dangerous, too much risk, and too little reward. So those are my thoughts. Have you boxing fans got anything to say? Let's see. Never felt Jennings could win, even during the course of the fight. Okay, that's nice to know, Carlton. But did Jennings prove anything to you in the fight? As for Ruben, you're saying Fury spars Fury every day, who's 6'6", right? Are you comparing Ruben, Hughie Fury to Vladimir Klitschko? Are you saying to me that Hughie Fury has one punch knockout power like Vladimir Klitschko? Are you saying that Hughie Fury has got the experience like Vladimir Klitschko? Are you saying that Hughie Fury's got 17 world title defenses? Are you saying that Hughie Fury is Olympic gold medalist? See, this is what I'm talking about. That argument there, I would say he lacks experience. And Hughie Fury, he doesn't have any experience at world level. He wants it. One day he'll get there. He's got no experience at the moment. So who are you going to bring in as sparring? Yes, he does have power. Does he have Klitschko power? Does Hughie Fury have Klitschko power? Okay, let me ask you a question. What would Klitschko done against Rudenko? Let me ask you that question. What would Klitschko done against Rudenko? Here isn't Vlad, but he still has the dimensions. Dimensions are one thing, Ruben, but Jennings is decent, but he won't be a champion. Too small and doesn't hit hard enough. Well, he hit hard enough for Vladimir Klitschko to back him up. I don't agree with what you're saying, Carlton. I totally disagree with you, because Klitschko was the best. He is a league above the rest of the heavyweights in the world. He is the premier heavyweight in the world. Everybody knows that. So you say he's too small, but who's going to take advantage of those dimensions? Because Wilder and Fury are not Vladimir Klitschko. So I don't see your argument there. This division will be ruled by super heavyweights. I disagree with you again. Ruled? Not sure. I think it's a face. Don't know if it'll be ruled by super heavyweights. Because I'll tell you something James Alibashir said to me. He said to me that fighters, when they get over 6 foot 4, 6'5", when they get over 6'4", their chins are not as durable. There's just something about it. Vitaly was a freak of nature. And these guys, I mean, Fury is an exception to rule because Fury's got an inside game. But I don't know. I'm not convinced that this division is ruled by super heavyweights. I believe the division will be ruled by the most skilled heavyweights. Height and reach don't have anything to do with skills, right? You can be tall, you can be big and strong, right? But have you got the skills to pay the bills, right? Have you got the skills to pay the bills? Bright Jennings is a highly skilled heavyweight. You call him decent, but that's the problem. He's a highly skilled heavyweight. He fought the best heavyweight of this current generation, bar Vitaly Klitschko. This man's had 17 world title defenses, and you call him decent against the best heavyweight in the world. The best. Brian Jennings has been fighting, what, 6 years as a pro? And you call him decent? You call him decent? Well, then I don't think you really appreciate, you know, how far this man's come. He's got no Olympic record or fought in the Olympics. He had a record of 13-4 as an amateur. He fought Mike Perez, who had a great Olympic background. Yeah, Fury's skilled and size wild. They're skilled, but skilled against who? Are we talking about the Vladimir Klitschko, the universally recognized heavyweight champion of the world? I'm not talking about fighting against Chisora and Stavern. I'm talking about fighting against the heavyweight champion of the world. So if you're going to view Fury and Wilder, these two guys are being touted as the next two guys to potentially fight Vladimir Klitschko, who on their resume can you say that they fought against that measured up to Vladimir Klitschko? You can't, because it's not out there. You might say a good big man will always beat a good little man. Really? So can you explain to me how Evander Holyfield beat Riddick Bowe, dropped him in the third fight? Can you explain that to me? What do you think of Vladimir Klitschko versus Wilder? I think that Klitschko really hits to get hit and can't deal with it. So if so, Wilder hits him a few times, he could KO him. Yes, there's no doubt that Wilder could KO Vladimir Klitschko. But let me ask you this question. We know that Wilder can KO Klitschko. He's got the power. But let me ask you another question. When Vladimir starts throwing that left jab and landing the big right hand on Wilder, what happens? Again, it's great doing it against guys your own size. But when one big man is hitting another big man, it's a different proposition. A different proposition. You're now fighting for the heavyweight champion of the world. Real big fight atmosphere. Yeah, you're fighting a guy that's got experience. You can say Vlad has fought Tony Thompson. He's fought Ibragimov. He's fought who else? He's fought Kubrat Pulev. He's fought who else? He's tall guys. Oh God! But anyway, he's fought a lot of tall guys. Bowe wasn't a super heavyweight. What? Bowe wasn't a super heavyweight. Bowe was 6'5" and 260 pounds. Was not a super heavyweight. What are you talking about? So what was Lennox Lewis then? Bowe and Lewis were super heavyweights in the Olympics. Both Bowe and Lennox Lewis fought super heavyweight. For your information, Carlton Palmer, Ray Mercer was the heavyweight champion of the gold medalist at heavyweight. Lewis was the super heavyweight gold Olympic champion medalist, and he beat Riddick Bowe. So both Bowe and Lewis are super heavyweights, 6'5" each. Lewis was 17 stone. Riddick was 17 and a half or 18 stone. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Bowe and Lewis are both super heavyweights. We're talking about guys who are 6'6" and 6'9". Let me ask you a question. If Riddick Bowe and Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis were around today, you wouldn't even be talking about Vladimir Klitschko. Those guys, you wouldn't talk about Vladimir Klitschko, you wouldn't talk about Wilder, and you certainly wouldn't talk about Fury, Wilder, and Klitschko. You wouldn't, because Lewis was again another level altogether. Because Lewis would have got inside of Vladimir Klitschko and thrown the uppercut like he did against Vitali. A peak Lennox Lewis. So yeah, so I don't know what you're talking about, Carlton Palmer. But just a question, by the way, Carlton. Not being disrespectful, just want to ask the question. Are you the same Carlton Palmer that used to play for England? Because a lot of people ask the question. Are you the same Carlton Palmer that played for England? I really want to know that. Could you please let me know? Really appreciate that. And I do appreciate your comments, by the way. Yeah, I keep saying it over and over again. For me, I would like to see someone like Wilder fight someone like Marius Vac, or fight someone like Tony Thompson. Let me see you fight somebody your own height or a little shorter than you who can reach your chin. Would Jennings beat Bowe? I don't know Bowe about that bit. Yeah, listen, Bowe's a bad man on the inside. Fury would smash all of them. Fury beats any man. Oh, okay. All right. You can't knock it. I'll tell you one thing, you can't knock an unbeaten record. What? Yes, you are, Carl Palmer. Hey! We're singing for England. England. Sorry. Yes, if you are that Carlton Palmer, really, if you are that Carlton Palmer, I would love to do an interview with you, Carlton. I would love to do an interview with you. Find out what you've been up to and the England football team, and why Johnny Barnes never really did it for England. I'd love to know. Anyway, let's get off the point. Carlton Palmer, let me know. Inbox me. I would love to get an interview with you. But just for your information, Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe are both. Jennings would struggle with someone like Bowe because, in my mind, Riddick Bowe, an in-shape Riddick Bowe, not a fat Riddick Bowe. I mean, the Riddick Bowe that beat Evander Holyfield. That Riddick Bowe right there could have been even better than Lennox Lewis, I think. Because Bowe he had a fantastic jab, right? He had a fantastic jab, a big right hand. He could fight very good. For a big man, he could fight very well up close, right? And that's what Vladimir Klitschko couldn't do. Let me tell you something now. If Vladimir Klitschko and Bowe ever fought, Bowe would use the jab, get inside, and work the body. Theoretically, how would a fight between Joshua and Klitschko look? If the fight took now, Joshua gets knocked out. I mean, Joshua gets knocked spark out within 5. And I'll tell you why. Because what we know is that Joshua can knock guys out his same height, not his own height, people who are smaller than him, people who don't have the will. We have not seen Joshua fight a man yet that's had the ambition to come and knock his own block up yet. No, not yet. Name me one fighter Joshua's fought that has come with the ambition to win, a champion, a real champion. We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen Joshua go 12 rounds. We haven't seen Joshua take a punch in anger yet, a real punch from a real puncher. And just think about this. The left jab, the right hand. Lewis already beat Bowe at the Olympics. Yes, he did beat Bowe at the Olympics. I'm going to talk about my old school friend, or college friend, Audley Harrison, Olympics. That's all I'm going to say to you about that. Do you think Wilder, Fury, and Joshua would prove themselves to be better than Lennox Lewis and Bowe? I think you find it very hard because both Lewis and Bowe fought Lewis fought Evander Holyfield. Bowe fought Gallotta. He fought Guns. Hey, look at that! Could you imagine Tyson Fury versus Luis Gonzalez? Remember Luis Gonzalez? Who would I match Joshua with next? I think Kevin. I wouldn't match him against this bum, which he is. I'm sorry, let me not use bum. I hate to use the word bum, but this guy is fighting next is a proper bum. I mean, he's been knocked out twice in the his last two fights. He got knocked out by a bum. In fact, he got knocked out by the guy that fought in the heavyweight division tonight earlier on, showing on Box Nation. That guy's what, like 3-0? So that guy's just had his pro. It's his third pro fight. He's had no Olympic gold medal or anything like that. That's his third pro fight, and that guy knocked out the guy that Anthony Joshua is going to be either topping the bill or on Sky Sports. Come on, people. I can even mention Anthony Joshua. You can't. I would say, personally, I would like to see Joshua fight Rudenko. There's a good fight. Let Joshua fight Rudenko. Let Joshua fight Rudenko, because Rudenko's he fought Fury, he fought Brown. I think Joshua should fight Rudenko. That'd be a good fight for him. And because then you've got a guy who takes a good shot and comes to fight. Rudenko. That's a good fight. Rudenko? Hasn't he fought Rudenko already? Did Fury? I'm sure Fury went with Rudenko. Didn't Joshua fight Rudenko? I don't think he did, you know. I don't think he did. Yeah, Rudenko would be a good fight. Yeah. So for me, both Wilder or Fury to fight someone like a Marius Vac, then I have a better idea of how they will do in a world title fight. Fury beats AJ at this point in time, in my opinion. It's a damn good fight. Damn good fight. But by the way, Dillian White. What about Dillian White? Where are you going to put Dillian White? Oh, I was just going to ask. He will smash Rudenko. Well, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. You said, Colton, that Jennings wouldn't go 12 rounds and get smashed a bit. So I'm not so sure now. I don't know. I'm not knocking Joshua, but there's another thing you've got to ask yourself the question about Joshua. He's very big, very muscular. How does he go? How does he deal with 12 rounds? How does he fight at a 12-round pace? That's what I want to know. I want to know how Joshua fights at a 12-round pace. It's an important point. So let's see Joshua go more than 3 rounds in a tough fight. Dillian White. Let's talk about Dillian White a second. Yeah, Dillian White. He beats AJ as well, in my opinion. Yeah, there you go. All right, there's the fight now. That's a proper fight to talk about. Dillian White, Anthony Joshua. Look at what Lennox Lewis did before he really became the star that he is at British level. In his 14th fight, he fought Gary Mason. Gary Mason was ranked number 4 in the world. He was 33-0. Mason was a big puncher. Okay, 33-0. Mason had beaten Tyrell Biggs. He fought a lot of top Americans. Why do people think Dillian White is so good? Why do people think Dillian White is so good? Well, I believe White used to spar a lot of David Haye. The story about Dillian White is that he has a very good chin. He packs a bit of a punch. I don't know how far Dillian White's going to go, to be honest with you. I think he's a good fighter, but I think he needs polishing up. Dillian White, in my opinion, at the highest level, I think he's going to need polishing up. Do you think AJ looked quite bad in his last fight? Yeah, I did think he looked. I think he looked terrible in his fight against Jason Gavin. But put it in perspective, Gerald Washington went 10 rounds with Jason Gavin. So Jason Gavin came in and tried to mess Joshua about. Like I said, if Kevin Johnson is his next fight after this walk in the park, Joshua probably knocks him out in a round. If Kevin Johnson is the next opponent, Kevin Johnson is going to be messing Joshua around a lot. I want to see Joshua taken, after 5 rounds, see what he does, see what his muscles are like, see what if the lactic acid builds up in his muscles. That's what I'd like to see. Be very interested in that. Notification, see what's going on here. Okay, it's almost. I've seen a lot of AJ's fights. He tends to get stronger the fight goes on. No doubts about his stamina. Right. Carlton, we're talking about professional boxing. Frank Bruno looked great as an amateur. He had the best knockout percentage as an amateur in the ABAs. He knocked everybody out. I think he went 6-0 as an amateur. His stamina gets stronger as the fight goes on. I don't know about that. Again, well, as a pro, that needs to be proven. because the pro games goes 12 rounds and not 3 rounds. And I would remain. With AJ Kale Johnson, would he prove his quality? Well, Ruben, do you want me to be really frank with you there? Didn't he get beat by Manuel Shah, who just got beat up the other day by some unknown body? Johnson's been beaten by Derek Chisora. If you look at the form book, he's been beaten by Derek Chisora. He's been beaten by Shah. He's been beaten by who else? You can beat. Do you have doubt? Absolutely. I've absolutely got doubts about his stamina in a big fight where somebody's punching him back. You can't judge a man's stamina by knocking out guys in the first and second round. That's not testing his stamina. It's a different. It's a different thing. You're okay. Here's an example for you, Carlton. You're a ex-England football player. All right. Let me. He's never been KO'd. Okay, hold on a second. I want to put this to Carlton. Carlton, let me give you an example, right? A football example, right? Now, do you think the fitness that I would have having to kick about in a Hyde Park with my mates in Hyde Park is, and I'm playing football at a high pace at Hyde Park with my mates? Is that good enough fitness to go and play an international team, to play international football for England? Let me ask you that question. Clearly, I'm not a football expert, but I certainly know that, you're dealing with, you're playing against different opposition. It's a higher class opposition. You have to concentrate a lot more. You have to play your part as a player, I'm sure. And different demands on your body. When you're kicking about with your mates in Hyde Park or Victoria Park, or I don't know, you're going to kick about in the back of the garden with your mates, it's not the same. And it's the same with Anthony Joshua. At the moment, he's doing things at domestic level. Well, yeah, domestic level. And you can't test the stamina yet because he hasn't fought anybody, remotely. And this is an Olympic champion, so he needs to get a move all his career. And the thing is, are you going to tell me Anthony Joshua's improving? If he's improving, then how is he improving? If you're fighting the same level opponents, how can he be improving? I don't get it. So yeah, that's my sort of thing about doubts about his stamina. Let's see him do. Okay, you're very confident about Joshua's stamina. What fight have you seen him go 10 or 12 rounds in a high-paced fight where he's not controlling the fight? Klitschko proved his stamina tonight against a guy who's got a great engine, and he's almost 40. And he was able to go 12 rounds with a young, hungry, fit, strong man. That's stamina. Why do you doubt AJ's stamina? Is it because of the muscle mass? Yeah. If you look at AJ's body shape, right, and you look at Frank Bruno's body shape, they're very similar in stature. Very similar. Joshua being a couple of inches shorter. I think taller. Frank was 6'3". Josh was about 6'5" or 6'6", maybe. Don't quote me on that. Being Bruno's about 6'3". But the muscles, and I made this judgment earlier on, or said this earlier on. When Frank was fighting guys that really didn't matter, he looked great. His stamina looked fantastic. When he was in a high-paced fight against guys that really extended him, that's when the stamina started. His muscles started to clamp up. You look at all his big fights. All the big fights Bruno's lost in, bar Mike Tyson, because Tyson would just rip him up when he got inside. There's been stamina issues. Look at the fight he had with Lennox Lewis. Stamina issues. Oliver McCall almost knocked him out, and Oliver McCall was as high as a kite when he fought. I don't know what McCall was on the night that Bruno fought him, but he was as high as a kite. So yeah, and I think he kind of came to his senses about the 11th or 12th round, and Frank was in big trouble, and Frank was holding on for dear life. Yeah, kind of like what Klitschko was doing tonight. So yeah, any other questions, guys? No more questions? Well, Carlton Palmer, I look forward to getting an interview with you talking about English football. And I'd love to know what you're doing with your career now. Ah, here we go. I've seen many amateur fights where he was pushed at a very high pace. Yes, it was the amateurs, but the top guys he faced tended to fade in comparison. But also, I've seen Joshua get chinned in the amateurs as well. I saw him get chinned by, what's the guy's name? I saw him get chinned by Dillian White. I saw him get chinned a few times. But then I saw, did you know Tua got knocked out in the amateurs? He had one of the best chins in professional boxing. So I think it's only 3 rounds though, Carlton. It's only 3 rounds. 12 rounds is a lot different to 3 rounds. If you look at, I'll tell you as a good example of this, Amir Khan. If you look at Amir Khan's career, until probably recent times, Amir Khan started his first, if you watch Khan fight, he comes out the blocks, first 3 rounds, throwing loads of punches. And around 4 to 5, if you're a top flight fighter with Amir Khan, tends to start dropping his hands and leaving his chin exposed. That's why I could always back against him in previous fights, with him against Garcia, against Prescott, and against Lamont Peterson. I think Khan is certainly tightened up his game, doesn't rush in and throw as many punches. That's for the amateur game. Are we talking about stamina? We are talking about stamina. And Khan, for the first 3 rounds, is very explosive. You look at Khan, and then he started to slow up rounds 4 onwards. You know, I'm not saying that Khan's got stamina problems. I think it's how he set himself about. With Anthony Joshua, again, we're talking about stamina. I don't think that he's not been tested yet, so I don't know what his stamina is like. But the lactic acid and this bodybuilding frame, we don't know whether that's going to harm him or it's going to bless him. We don't know yet. Don't you think Klitschko and his team underestimated Jennings in every department? No. What you saw tonight was what Fred Jenkins was saying, is that, yeah, of course you can, absolutely. Fred Jenkins made it clear that one of the things about when you are a trainer and you inherit a fighter, who Jonathan Banks trained before the fight with, who Jonathan Banks trained before he inherited Vladimir Klitschko? Yeah, good point about Hunter. Nobody knows. He didn't. And so therefore, he had his own career, Jonathan Banks. So Jonathan Banks now is training Vladimir Klitschko. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. When you inherit something like Vladimir Klitschko, you just wind him up and send him out to fight. This was the first time in a long time that Vladimir was posed different problems. Let me tell you something now. It's a fact. If someone like James Bashir was in that corner, or any experienced trainer was in that corner, I think Klitschko could have got the stoppage against Jennings. I really do. Because an experienced trainer sees a lot more. See, like Jonathan Banks could probably see about 30, 40% of what, and from that 30 or 40%, that's how he's judging the fight. Now, someone like Bashir, who's been in the game a lot longer, would have seen that at 70, 80, 90%. So he would have, whereas Banks was saying, yeah, jab, move, don't just box, don't use the right hand. Bashir would have said, you know what? Just keep throwing the straight right hand down the pipe all the time. You know what? Let's see you put them punches together more. Let's see you throw combination punches more. Let's take chances with this guy, Jennings. Let's get him out of there. And yes, when you're inside, throw those uppercuts more. And had it been a more experienced trainer in the corner, I believe he may well have stopped Brian Jennings. But because it was Banks in the corner as a trainer, then I think that eventually is going to be Klitschko's undoing, not having an experienced trainer in the corner. It's all right having your brother in the corner, but who's Vitaly Klitschko trained? So I'm still not sure. But Colin fights like a dummy. Well, he has fought like a dummy, but he has improved under Virgil Hunter. But we want to see how he does against a big puncher, i.e. Kell Brook, or my boy, Keith Thurman. Are there any other questions before I shut this off at 9 minutes past 7 in the morning? No, no more questions. There we go. No, yes, no, no, no more questions. Okay, thank you all for tuning in and watching. I don't do this often, but I thought it was worth it to do this tonight. Again, full credit to Brian Jennings. I will no doubt be I'll probably give him a call later and have a chat with him, see how he's doing. If not today, then tomorrow I will certainly have a chat with Brian. James Elibashir, and a closing comment I will leave. James Elibashir has told me to bring my pillow with me because I'll be needing it. Don't you think Klitschko's declined mentally? No, I think that Brian Jennings exposed Klitschko's insecurities. That was the last one. Yeah. Do I think? No, I don't think he's declined mentally. I think Jennings took away the things to be, you know, to allow Klitschko to be comfortable. Klitschko hasn't got a lot of experience of being uncomfortable. He's always had experience about being comfortable and controlling everything, controlling the environment, which is in Europe, controlling the pace, controlling the fighter, doing what he wants. This fight against Jennings, he was in a position now where he was forced to fight and forced in a small ring and forced not to and told at times not to hold and get on with the fighting. So I'm not sure if he's declined mentally, but I don't know. I think he's still got exciting fights against Wilder and Fury. Right, that's it. Colton Palmer, I look forward to speaking to you soon. Inbox me your details or catch me up on Twitter, my Twitter page. My Twitter is Bayloric TV Boxing. Check me out on there and inbox me. And let's get that interview, Colton. Let's get you on a video interview. I'm sure there are a lot of people that would love to talk to you about football and about boxing and all sorts of things. And yeah, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to Bayloric Boxing TV or Bayloric's TV Boxing channel. And also check us out on Facebook, Bayloric TV Boxing channel on Facebook as well. This has been Ingram Jones, a tired but delighted Ingram Jones, talking to you from the beautiful, sunny Ireland. It's nice and warm outside. I think we're going to go out and go do some bowling today. Take care. I'm out. Thanks for watching.